welcome to my cozy corner of the internet. It's August, so that means we can now talk about all the games I've played in July. July was literally the most tiring month, like my immune system is about to crash. I can feel myself getting sick. We traveled too much and I slept 5 hours on average every day, but I promised myself before we even began the month that in July I would make time for gaming, so I was trying really hard to keep this promise to myself. There are days I woke up at 5 a.m. to have time for gaming before starting the day at 8 a.m. Now let's talk about the games I've played. First we have Oxenfree 2, which I've picked up for dirt cheap during the Steam summer sales. Like, it didn't deserve to be that low. Now I feel guilty for paying that little. It was like €1. I feel even guiltier now that I'm going to say some negative things about it. I'm not really into paranormal, supernatural stuff, but I love the first game since the dialogue system was something I've never seen before. It felt so natural, the way the sentences got caught and how many different paths a conversation could go to. I also have a weak spot for games where we play as a group of teenagers, so the first game was an amazing experience for me, even when the theme of the game didn't really interest me. Sadly, it didn't really go like this in Oxenfree 2. The dialogue system felt not as good, honestly even annoying at times. Like, I would be talking to another character through the radio and halfway through the conversation the character next to me starts a random conversation and the other conversation I was having would just be randomly cut and I would have to start over. This happened like every 2 minutes and it frustrated me a lot. And now in this game we don't play as a teenager, but I think someone in their 30s, and okay, of course I'm okay with that. In so many of my favorite games I play as a 50-year-old dude, but sadly in Oxenfree 2 the characters were so boring. Our main character Riley and our sidekick Jacob literally felt like unsalted food. Their dialogue was so boring and I didn't feel any connection whatsoever. Now that we got the negatives out of the way, there were certainly aspects of the game that I've enjoyed, like the art style. Honestly, every location looks like a work of art and I really enjoyed running around, climbing up and down and seeing all these beautifully drawn places. I loved the muted color palette and the VHS effects and basically everything else visually. And I know I talked badly about the dialogue, but I still enjoyed it to some extent. I love this dialogue system. It just worked way less for me than it did in the first game. And since the second game released 7 years after the first one, I was expecting a big improvement rather than a downgrade. But I don't regret spending my time playing Oxenfree. I still would recommend it, especially if you're into supernatural themes. There's not a lot of them around and Oxenfree 2 is still definitely above average. Then I played Everdeep Aurora. This is not a game I completed, I just played a few hours of it, enough to have a good feeling of the game. The thing that immediately caught my eye with this one was the visuals and of course the fact that we play as a little cat. So in this one, an ongoing apocalyptic meteor shower forced everyone to settle underground and we drill deep down to search for our missing mother. This is not my usual genre, but I really enjoyed the few hours I've played since the exploration was really nice. Carving paths underground, exploring around and meeting new characters who are all really different from each other felt nice. I chose to explore the world and collect resources rather than progressing with the main story in my 2.5-hour playtime. And then I had to quit the game, but I couldn't find the save button anywhere and the game didn't tell me anything about it, so I quit, really hoping that the game automatically saved, but sadly it didn't. And when I launched the game again, I had a new game button rather than a continue one. Sadly, that destroyed all my excitement about the game since it relies a lot on exploration and the thought of slowly drilling through the same areas I've already seen didn't really appeal to me and I decided to stop my Everdeep Aurora adventure there. Next up is Yes, Your Grace. If you're looking for a game you can play in short 15 to 20 minute sessions without needing too much focus and still feel like you're progressing in the story even if you play in short bursts, Yes, Your Grace is a great pick. It has a really satisfying loop where people come to you with their problems and you get to make decisions that affect their lives and the fate of your kingdom. Since every day a line of characters shows up with their own unique issues, even short sessions feel meaningful. Your constantly making small choices that add up over time, and each conversation feels like a little self-contained quest, and that gives a strong sense of progression even if you only have a few minutes to play at a time. I really like the idea behind the game. You're not managing resources in a detailed way or fighting battles, mostly listening to people's requests and choosing who to help. I think it's simple but very effective. There's something really satisfying about looking over your kingdom, trying to balance what little resource you have and deciding who gets your support each day. And while it looks like a light management game at first, the story goes in a much more serious direction than I expected. Some of the events are pretty dark and heavy, and the choices you're given can feel genuinely difficult. It surprised me in a good way. The world feels lived in and the tone shifts from hopeful to desperate in a way that keeps you engaged. That said, I think the emotional side of the story mostly works if you're willing to think about the implications yourself. The game doesn't really push those feelings on you through dramatic scenes or writing. Instead, it just presents things plainly, and it's kind of up to you to feel the weight of what's happening, and I think that can be powerful, but it also made some moments feel a bit distant. I didn't always feel as emotionally invested as I could have, even though I was actually interested in what was going on. And some of the gameplay elements also got frustrating after a while. When my kingdom ran out of gold or villager contentments dropped to zero, the game just ended immediately. There was no warning or way to recover, just a black screen telling me that it was over, and the only option was to go back a few days and make different choices, which meant repeating the exact same dialogue and scenes just to try a slightly different path. That kind of design made things feel boring. I wish the game let you fail more gracefully, like instead of instantly ending, it could have introduced consequences, new story branches, or even permanent sacrifices that let the story continue in a more broken state. That would have made the world feel more alive and made the choices feel more meaningful. Still, Yes Your Grace was a game I enjoyed and would recommend. And then I played Misc, A Tiny Tale. In this one, we play as a little robot, and after a mysterious explosion rains trash from the sky, it's our job to collect, clean, and help each village while uncovering the secret behind the blast. If you like fetch quests, quirky dialogue, and collectathons, this is a cute game. I really enjoyed being this tiny robot in this big world and slowly cleaning the environment, exploring every nook and cranny to collect everything, and the platform mechanics. The whole game feels like a playground since you're so small compared to everything else, and I think that's what stands out the most. The platforming is simple but fun. It doesn't try to challenge you too much, but it keeps you moving and gives just enough variety to make exploring feel active. There are moments where you have to figure out how to reach a tricky spot, and the way the game encourages creative movement without punishing mistakes makes it feel very relaxed and cozy. Overall, I really enjoyed my time with it. It's not a game that's going to completely blow you away or do anything wildly new, but that's okay. It delivers exactly what it sets out to be: a warm, low-pressure adventure where you get to clean, collect, explore, and help out. Then we have The Merry Fairy, a super cute and cozy scrapbook journaling sim. You're in a cute cottage and you have this little enchanted cozy desk area with all the tools you need for journaling at your disposal, like so many cute stickers and washi tapes and really soothing background music. It's the perfect background app to accompany you while you work. There's a little bell that rings every 30 minutes reminding you to take a break, and you can completely ignore it, or you can have a little chat with the character during your break. You can create to-do lists, jot down your thoughts, and design beautiful journal pages. I always want to be able to use little apps/games like these while I work, but sadly I can't be near a PC or I get too distracted, so I could only test it for a day. But I have a friend who actually feels even more productive with tools like this, so if you're the same, I think the Merry Fairy would be a great addition to your productivity setup. The only thing I would wish for is a bit more variety in the stickers, since some of them feel a little outdated, kind of like they're from the early 2010s, but I think more will probably be added in future updates. And finally, we have Magic Inn. This is a cozy magical tavern management game. I was so excited for this one since I love restaurant management games, witchy vibes, and the cozy atmospheres, but in my first 30 minutes playing it, I was really disappointed. The character creation felt very weak. The options are really limited. Like when I was going through the different options for nose, they all look literally the same. So much so that I thought it might be a bug, and I wanted to create a character that looks similar to me, but there is not even the basic straight long hair option. The game is in third person and we always see our character, so I think more variety would be really nice, as in games like this I want to create my character as close to myself as possible. Anyway, then I started playing the game and I was disappointed once again with the camera controls and the tutorials, which really overwhelmed me. The game is really easy to play and figure out, but the game throws a lot of tutorial text at you every 2 minutes. But then I kept playing and the game started being really fun, like really fun. The more you play, the more mechanics you unlock. I unlocked my magic wand, which I can fly plates with, burn the spider webs on the ceiling, create a cloud of rain to clean the tables and the dirty plates, change the shape of furniture, and so many other things. You can craft so many cute items and decorate your tavern. You can have regular customers, learn new recipes, so many new drinks, go to the market to meet new people and to shop for ingredients. There was a lot of depth that really helped me overlook the negatives of the game, and I'm so glad I didn't immediately stop playing because the game has a lot to offer. The characters have a lot of variety and the dialogue is really fun and interesting. I didn't feel like skipping any dialogue and really enjoy getting to meet new characters. I have regular customers that come every day to have a drink, and starting to slowly get to know them and recognize their name feels so nice. Like, it feels so realistic, just like running a real life magical tavern would feel, I guess. And it's so cozy. I'm still playing it as I just got the review code for it literally yesterday night. I'm currently about 4 hours in, and not gonna lie, I can't wait to edit this video a bit, make a cup of coffee and play more. The game is coming out on the 4th of August, and if you're someone who can look past the negatives I talked about earlier, I think the game has so much to offer. And that was everything I played in July. Feel free to share how your month was and what you've played. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week with a new video. Until then, stay cozy. Bye bye!